It is February 29th, 2020. Lethal leap year? No. AEW Revolution tonight on pay-per-view. This is the Wrestling Inc. podcast. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined by Raj Giri. Matt Morgan should be coming along here in a bit. Here to talk about AEW's first pay-per-view of the new decade. Raj, what'd you think tonight? For a pay-per-view we paid $50 a pop for.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was a great show. I don't think it was quite as good as some of the past ones, but man, I thought Moxley winning the title was great. That was a fun match. It's not like a match of the year kind of thing. The Omega and Page versus Young Bucks match was, really good. I'm gonna hate this till the day I die, but kicking out of gigantic moves at 2, I just think it just kills those moves. But outside of that, because you don't need to do that, and you still have an equally good match. But I thought it was awesome. And Cody versus MJF, I could not get over that neck tattoo.
Cody's neck tattoo, biggest heel in the business.
Oh my gosh, it was I'm not one to ink shame, but
I know it's an easy target though, right? It's like he literally painted a target on his neck to draw attention. It could not be more prominent. And we were talking about this online. You'll get someone like Corey Graves. They run out of space to get a neck tattoo. It all sort of blends. Cody has got one other tattoo, the dream one. I mean, this is this stands out quite a bit.
And
it's real. That's the craziest part.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, "Oh my god, please let that be fake," and it's not fake. It's a real tattoo. So Cody chose that. Undertaker had that neck tattoo of Sarah, his ex-wife, that he tattooed on his neck, and it took a long time. It took a bunch of different procedures to get rid of it. So,
well, we were talking about that, right? We're talking about it on Twitter. It's like we shouldn't ink shame. In fact, I made a donation tonight to Homeboy Industries. They help former gang members get prominent face and neck tattoos removed that are holding them back in life. I don't want to cast judgment and be like, oh, we should, be prejudiced about it. Anyone with prominent tattoos, but with Cody, it just does really stand out and draw the eye.
Yeah, I couldn't pay attention to that. Every time they were doing something, I'd see that tattoo. Yeah, man. Brandy, God bless her heart. I mean, she must have been cool with it.
Would your wife let you do that? Would your wife let you do that, Raj?
Fuck no.
Yeah, seriously. Like, I think my wife would leave me if I insisted upon doing that.
It would cause a strain, seriously.
Yes.
It would, and then I'd have to figure out how to get back to where we were.
But
it'd always be like, every argument then would be like, how can I trust you when that time you went and you got that shit on your neck?
Ryback would be like, I don't think you should be on the podcast.
Yeah, Ryback all of a sudden.
I know it's audio.
Sorry, Rajback's over. By the way, the first couple minutes of this segment with Ryback this week, we're discussing the Rajback stuff.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, everyone tune into Ryback's podcast for that. You saw the art today that one of our fans made?
I did not.
Oh, I'll pull that up. It was something else, man. Something else indeed. We've got the best fans, seriously, and good on Ryback for having a sense of humor because he gets tweeted about this. I'm sure he's like, "What in the hell are people talking about all the time with this?"
Yeah,
like, what is this? But yeah, tonight was something. I mean, this was a very enjoyable pay-per-view from start to finish. I feel like there were a lot of fantastic matches. There were a few things that maybe dipped a little bit with the crowd. You could feel like the energy took a little bit of a dive, but for the most part, I have to say that like this was solid. Now, that being said, I don't know about $50 solid, but that's simply because, I mean, how many entertainment experiences do you quantify in life? I mean, a day at Disneyland, sure, you spend a lot to go there, but even most movies, I'm not sure I pay $50 to watch.
Yeah, I mean, a Conor McGregor fight, which is a big deal, is like 70. So, I don't know. Yeah, it is the pay-per-view thing. TV, everything in general is getting flipped around, changing huge. So we'll see. I mean, I think AEW at some point the smart money is going to be to move to one of these streaming services. WWE might be going to ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
But if you could make a deal with one of these guys, because
HBO Max going to be Time Warner's.
Yeah, absolutely.
So here we go. Colin Detroit did artwork for Rajback versus the Jew print with Justin LaBar in the middle with the red cap and all.
So I'm the small guy?
Well, you're compared to Ryback,
yeah,
sure.
So.
Yeah. You know, I like that he's got me wearing blue. I appreciate it. So it's at Colin Detroit who did that. Thank you so much for putting together that artwork. Gary S with the super chat, $9.99. Thanks, Gary. Yes, $9.99. Once a beloved price point, one that soon perhaps will be going away. Gary S saying a terrible job by BR Live. Got home, wanted to pay for the show, went on the BR Live app, saw that Mox was winning the title. Congrats, AEW. You lost my money. It is interesting. I saw a lot of people, I don't know if you saw this, who were talking about doing a late buy to catch up or like DVR, not watching it live.
So they don't, so I guess they don't have the ability to start from the beginning, not start from live.
Yeah, which is weird in this on-demand world that we live in.
BR Live is not exactly a hotbed for streaming, so I can see like they're not, up to that level yet. I mean, that is a pretty, I don't know if it's an advanced feature, but you basically have DVR capabilities once you're doing that.
Yeah. I don't get it, man. And then I am Air with the super chat saying AT&T cut me off at the main event. So mad, ruined it. Even at the end when Moxley was walking through the crowd, the music cue. I mean, I still think AEW, now granted they've only been doing these for less than a year, but the production is still not perfect.
It's not perfect, but I mean, I was watching the show tonight. I thought, I mean, if AT&T cut them off, that wasn't a BR Live thing, because BR Live, it cut off for a minute when Moxley was celebrating and went back to a celebration. Then it said like, "Good night, AEW fans," or whatever. But I thought the production was pretty damn good.
All in all, I really enjoyed the pay-per-view. We're going to go segment by segment, match by match. But first, I want to give some love to the sponsor of this episode, Blue Chew, BlueChew.com. Oh, guys, you remember the days when you were always ready to go. Raj, think about that. Think about when you were a young man and you had the energy of a Sammy Guevara, of a Darby Allin. Now you're in the good times. Now you're in the Dustin Rhodes phase of your career.
Which he's looking damn good.
Yeah, he is, but
maybe it is. Maybe it's because of this.
Maybe it could be. It could be. The Blue Chew. Oh, back in the day, you were a soldier of love. Now you're retired, but you need to re-enlist. Your nation, your country needs you, or at least your significant other does. Blue Chew brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, the stuff that works the scientifically proven way to get that extra confidence, that extra performance, enhance your performance, increase it. With Blue Chew, you can take them anytime, day or night, even on a full stomach. And since they are chewable, they work up to twice as fast as a pill. So you could be ready whenever that opportunity arises. Talk about being on demand. Oh God, that's the perfect analogy for it. Because you think about the idea. We're like, hey baby, I'm with you in spirit, but we got to wait an hour for the window of time. No, chew the Blue Chew, put on some music, lower the lights. 10, 15 minutes later, you're good to go, baby. So if you could enhance your performance, use that confidence where it counts. Blue Chew is the fast and easy way to make it go time anytime. It is prescribed online by licensed physicians, so you don't have to go to the doctor's office or wait in line at the pharmacy. And it ships right to your door in a discreet package. They are made in the USA. They prepare and ship direct, so they're cheaper than a pharmacy. And best of all, no more awkwardness. The awkwardness ends with hearing me talk about this. And after that, blue skies, Blue Chew. Right now, we've got a special deal for our listeners. Visit BlueChew.com. Get your first shipment free when you use our special promo code WINC. Just pay $5 shipping. Again, that's BLUE Chew.com. Promo code WINC to try it free. Raj, you've had a little free time, not doing the podcast as much. You've been partaking in the Blue Chew, having some special date nights.
Make it a little extra special. Why settle for the ordinary when you could go for the extraordinary? So, absolutely, man. Even if you're not, even if your equipment is working fine, you just want to take it to the next level. Blue Chew, it takes you there. I mean, we saw Glenn the one time you tried one on the podcast, and you looked like you were about to burst.
Well, in the best way possible. It's really like a weird sick joke of nature that when you're young in it, you're most virile, you have the most energy. Like nobody is interested in your business. Or getting down with you. And then you get older, you get confidence, you get in a loving relationship. You have a special male or female that is very interested in what you've got going on. And then nature says, aha, not that simple anymore. Blue Chew is going to help you get that back. It's going to give you that energy. And again, this is FDA approved active ingredients. This is science. This isn't herbal. This isn't the crap you buy at the gas station. Go to bluechew.com, use our promo code WINC to try it free. And I look forward to WrestleMania weekend when we do our meetup, getting, the awkward first person testimonials that I often get from our listeners about Blue Chew. So
you don't need to bring photos, but
no photos. About it. I appreciated at StarCast when one of our listeners, significant others, I believe it was his wife, thanked me. Said, thank you for introducing him to Blue Chew. It has really helped our relationship. And all I could say to that was, well, ma'am, you're welcome. I'm just doing my duty.
Making lives better.
That's what we aim to do here on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. So bluechew.com, try it free, promo code WINC at checkout. Speaking of WrestleMania, also go to facebook.com/Wrestling Inc. RSVP for Rick's on the River coming up Friday, the Friday before Mania.
Yeah.
I meet up in Tampa. Like 200 people are going to this.
I think it's even more now. It's like 240 now, or it's like 220, something like that. So get your name on there, so that way you're guaranteed a spot. So yeah, definitely get on there.
It's going to be a good time. So let's start talking about AEW Revolution tonight. The pre-show we had.
And guys, sorry that Matt's not here. He will be back on this Monday.
Yes. And we will get more of his thoughts. I'm sure he will still be high on AEW Revolution. SCU versus the Dark Order tonight. Match was fine, but this was really notable about the Exalted One, right? The mystery of who was in charge and what happened after the Dark Order won this match via pinfall. First, the Minions came out and attacked SCU after the Dark Order got that win, with Grayson getting the pin on Scorpio Sky. Colt Cabana's music hit, which was a nice, completely unexpected surprise. He ran out and helped SCU. And then we saw what we thought was the Exalted One, a hooded figure coming out, but it was really Christopher Daniels out there to help SCU as well. So Matt Hardy's contract, here we are. It's after midnight East Coast time. Do you think Wednesday on Dynamite, Matt Hardy shows up with the Dark Order?
If I was Matt Hardy, I'd take my time, take in all the offers, because theoretically, in theory, he shouldn't have any offers yet. Now is when he can be able to start negotiating, or tomorrow. I believe it's up March. I never know if it's March 1st. That means April 30th. February 29th at 11:59 p.m. Or is that March 1st at 11:59? I actually should. Anyway.
You should send that to Nick Hausman there in the media scrum saying, "Yes, Tony Khan, it is now after midnight on the East Coast. Mm-hmm. You're free and clear. Are you sending an offer to Matt Hardy?"
He wouldn't answer that regardless, but
but it's fair game now.
Yeah.
Phil with the $7 super chat saying, "I worked late, missed the show, wanted to watch without spoilers, but couldn't resist not watching the podcast." And yes, saying even without Matt making it tonight, this is still the best podcast ever. Thank you, Phil. Yeah. We do our best.
Matt Morgan is the Exalted One.
He's got to show up in a hood on Monday night. What did you think? The match, I think we can agree that it was good, but the mystery is the reason we were in on this. Did you like how they sort of swerved and trolled the audience a little bit with the surprises?
It felt very indie-rific, I guess. I don't know. This didn't do much for me. The match was fine. The Dark Order stuff is not my cup of tea. It's the stuff, if I had friends over for watching wrestling, I would tell them to come after the pre-show if I knew that they were going to be on the pre-show. So,
but those video packages, I would put the majority of those video teasers up there. I would put that up with anything to be like, okay, this is kind of cool.
Yeah. Michael Edwards is asking what I'm drinking. I have some Sauvignon Blanc. So it's a good pick.
Yeah. I'm just drinking water out of a cup I stole from Pizza Hut in 1987. No, Pizza Hut, it was the red cups. I don't even know. Right? Pizza Hut was the red cups, right? They had Coca-Cola. Yes, this is blue. This is Pepsi. You can order these on Amazon, by the way. People are always like, where do you get these retro cups? They sell them on Amazon. They're fantastic.
So Colt Cabana, we'll see. I've always found like Colt Cabana would be a real asset on the mic, in a commentator role or something like that. So yeah, we'll see them going. We'll see what they do with him. But
Well, and this
definitely...
is he signed? I guess that's the question. We'll probably find out tonight in the scrum, or was this a one-off appearance in Chicago?
Yeah, I mean I mean they've shown that they'll use wrestlers like Jeff Cobb
Yeah.
who they don't have signed under a long-term deal. So it's very possible. But Colt Cabana did leave ROH, so he's a free agent. So I could totally see him wanting to, sign a deal with AEW.
No, he is fantastic. What did you think of this promo before the pay-per-view started with LuchaSaurus running down the matches they were interested in tonight?
This was god awful. This was I look at Luchasaurus, I'm like, this guy's a can't miss. This guy's a superstar. And then I hear that promo, it's like, I can see why they cut him in NXT. Oh man, I thought it was. What do you think? I thought it was terrible.
I liked the gimmick of having them ringside. I thought that was kind of like a fun thing to do, but I mean, it's tough to take them seriously as like the number one tag team contenders or as like a top level talent, the way they use them. I hate to say that part of that is Marco's stunt. I feel like he's just got sort of a goofiness to him, whereas Luchasaurus, I mean, look, already the dinosaur mask gimmick is a tough one to have taken seriously.
When you start your promo saying for 65 million years.
What? He believes the gimmick. Chris Statlander genuinely believes she's an alien, at least how she presents
it's cringe. It sucks.
I know. It's tough. But with Marco, that's the part for me where it strains believability because Luchasaurus at least commits to it. Jack Perry is such a good looking kid.
Luchasaurus shouldn't act like he's a dinosaur, first off. Cut your promos, do whatever, but don't. You instantly lose, a lot of credibility with that. I agree with you with Marco Stunt. I think there is something you could do with him. He does have a certain charisma. This isn't my cup of tea. I think Jungle Boy, I think he's a star. They just need to find the right role for him. Luchasaurus too. This sucked though.
Yeah. Jake Hager versus Dustin Rhodes. This match really got it going right from the get-go. Dustin coming out wearing the shirt, "I'm here to fight Jericho's" pitch. Little controversial with him kissing Hager's wife in a non-consensual fashion, which to me at first was, that's a classic Goldust move, but Goldust was not big on consent. Maybe in this day and age, I see where it riles some people up. I mean, this is professional wrestling. She didn't know that was happening. It was presented as non-consensual, but it was an act.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of stuff used to happen all the time. But yeah, in today's day and age, I was shocked that they did it. I mean, I'm so used to it in wrestling that if it was 10 years ago, I wouldn't have thought anything of it. But in today's day and age, it was surprising. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was one of the
she agreed to it. It was all.
I get it. Bad optics, I think.
I mean, just being able to walk up to a woman and just kiss him is not doesn't fly anymore. You know what? There was a poll which just shocked me. I've been married for forever. I've been with my wife for 25 years now, since we started dating. But nowadays, if the majority of young people consider it harassment if you ask them for a drink, like the old, do you mind if I buy you a drink is now considered to be inappropriate by the majority of young people. So
that is interesting.
It is a different time.
Things have, I don't want to say they've changed because that makes it sound old. I want to say things have evolved, and I respect that things have evolved. I think it's good that we're having more of a dialogue about these things. So yes, this was old school Goldust in a way, but perhaps, again, we've talked about this. A lot of the Attitude Era stuff really doesn't play well in today's environment. And this seemed like a little bit of a misstep given how AEW does present themselves as such a woke company overall.
Yeah. Again, it's something that's been done forever, but it does feel out of place in today's day and age. But I thought the match itself was fine. Dustin Rhodes looks incredible. I don't know what's been motivating him, but he is just, with the cardio he's been doing, he looks fantastic. He looks fantastic. He moves great. He's just great. I mean, he's kind of one of those unsung inspirational hero. I don't know, maybe heroes is a stretch, but one of those inspirational stories in wrestling, and to be able to reinvent himself time and time again. And here he is, still on pay-per-view, decades and decades later. I remember watching him in '89, in Angle and WWF with the $1 Million Man, when $1 Million Man was feuding with Dusty Rhodes and the Sun got involved. And here he is all those years later, and he's still putting on awesome matches on pay-per-view. So it's awesome.
And this was competitive tonight. I mean, we predicted last night this might be a squash for Hager. But this looked like it could go either way right up until the end.
Yeah, I mean, common sense is like Hager has to win. But yeah, I mean, it didn't make Dustin look bad. It wasn't a squash by any means. So I thought they did this perfect.
In fact, I'm going to go on a limb and say they made Dustin look better than Dustin needs to look. Dustin could have been squashed, and I don't think that would have hurt him in the long term.
Yeah, I agree. But I also think if his role is kind of the big veteran who can still kick ass, you probably don't want to squash him just yet. So, semi-competitive, but Jake Hager still looked good. Jake Hager didn't need to cheat to win or anything like that. Yeah. I thought it worked.
Joey Adorjan saying, I thought the match was a little long. I agree with that for the opening. Because I felt like the crowd even fatigued a little bit towards the end. It is funny though, man. I mean, I know we're going to talk about Moxley in the year he's had, but imagine 3 years ago, how the same AEW crowd, like the biggest AEW marks, would have just scoffed at the idea of Jack Swagger versus Goldust. Why is this even on a pay-per-view? And tonight, here it is. Everyone is just wrapped with attention, very into the match, very invested. Just goes to show, man, this is why I always say it's not the talent's fault when talking about WWE. It has nothing to do with the talent. It's 100% creative.
It could be. Then you see the LuchaSaurus promo. So on his own.
If that's the worst thing in the entire company, Raj, really? Have you been? See, you've been missing out, man. Like you're not watching SmackDown live every Friday, not able to fast forward.
I watched it last night.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I'll take the LuchaSaurus promo over the lower points of Raw and SmackDown. Man, so Hager, he just choked him out, like in a standing arm triangle. Like it was a really brutal looking finish to the match. This was good, but a little bit.
And this was a move that he uses in his Bellator fights that he's won with. So I like that they threw that in, that he uses, use that same move that puts out people legitimately in fights.
Yeah. And after that, let's talk Darby Allin versus Sammy Guevara. Man, the crowd was live. I almost think this should have gone on first.
This was awesome.
Yeah. Like such superstars, both these kids.
Yeah. I mean, you just see like a ton of potential. If these guys can stay healthy, I mean, Darby Allin, some of the stuff he does is just so crazy that I do worry about that.
Oh, I don't mean this pejoratively. If I had to bet current wrestlers that will die in the ring.
Ooh, no, let's not go there.
No. I'm saying of like, not due to like negligence or tragedy. I'm saying like, just because they like push themselves into an unsafe territory, Darby Allin gives off that vibe that he is the most likely to do something that is just going to have permanent repercussions. That kid is nuts, but that's why we love him though, right? Because he has that danger built in. Yeah,
I mean, he doing the coffin drop on the ring apron, it's going to shorten your career at some point. Yeah. I'd like for him to work smarter, but man, he is on fire right now. The crowd was hot. They were just going crazy for him. He is the most over he's been since, he's been with the company. It's working. I don't want to sound like Jim Cornette, but slow down a little bit. You don't need to show that you could possibly break your back to get over. You've got the personality, you do cool stuff. Because he did that dive on the outside of the ring and he missed by a little bit, and it looked like he could have seriously gotten hurt.
Yeah, I mean, it's terrifying. And let me couch that in my statement earlier. But he has chosen to make this his gimmick. Yeah. And I think that's why audiences respond to him, is because it's not even like Moxley. I mean, and this is no disrespect to Jon Moxley, but when he talks about, barbed wire and pain and all this stuff, like, it's a little theatrical. It's a little more showman, but with Darby, I truly believe Darby just his character, I believe it. I believe he has a death wish, the way he acts. Tina Miller's asking, how do we feel about the coffin drop? It scares her. Absolutely. I mean, but I feel like it is scary, but it's also what's working for him.
The coffin drop in the ring, I have no problem with. It's when he does it on the ring apron and misses, and he takes it. It's like that trust fall that Kofi Kingston took at Super Showdown. It's just stupid. It's something that people aren't going to remember 2 months from now. And even if they do, did that get you over bigger as a star? And if it didn't, then what's the point? But Darby Allin, he's got charisma. He's got the look. He's got it. So I thought it was a good showing. The right finish. Sammy Guevara, he's tremendous. You look at the way they've been positioning him, because they have Sammy Guevara lose a lot, but he's still on the ascent even while he's doing that. So I'm usually not a fan of building people and having them lose on the way up, but this is one of those rare cases where it actually has been working.
Darby really needed a win.
And he got it, yeah. He should not have lost this match for sure.
Yeah, so the coffin drop off the top rope, that won it for him. Jake Hager came out to rescue him, Sammy Guevara, after this match.
Yeah. Did you call Darby Allin the Jesse Pinkman?
Yes, of AEW.
Yes. I totally see that.
Think it every time.
Yeah. For those that don't know, Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad.
And in fact, I mean, so to your point, and again, I wish him the longest career possible. I would like to see them do more with him narratively, because he does have that charismatic yet vulnerable vibe. That's what reminds me of that very Jesse Pinkman quality. Like Jesse Pinkman spent most of Breaking Bad in danger of being killed, and he was a guy you thought he might get killed, but I really don't want him to get killed.
Right, he's endearing, but a drug dealer.
Yes, and I think Darby could do so much more. I wonder if it's almost going to take, and again, I don't wish this upon him, but I wonder if it's going to take an incident that goes too far for him to pull back a little bit. And here's the crazy part. A lot of those vignettes you see, he directs and shoots those. This kid went to film school. He's so talented. I mean, I'm going to sound really like an old man here, but I actually think that his ability to put himself in danger, I know that's getting him over, but he's got so much more to offer beyond that I think he should just balance it out a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even that promo tonight before his entrance, or just that little thing with him backflipping onto the skateboard. That he's just so freaking cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. There was that one where he had the cue cards going, and after a while it started to feel like a spoof.
Yeah.
He went a little too long, but he's very creative. His size is always going to be one of those things that could hold him back a little. Again, in AEW, that hasn't necessarily shown to be a thing yet, but will people buy him against a Chris Jericho, or we'll see. But he's got all the tools.
Well, and I think, okay, so if we're going to go full circle with this, that is why the death wish factor is his secret weapon. Why you think he would be credible against a Chris Jericho?
Because he's willing to do anything.
He's willing to do anything. I mean, right? And that there's something. It's that was always the running thing you would hear in movies and TV. Remember growing up, Raj, where it'd be oh, he's small, but he looks wiry. Unpredictable in a fight. You don't know what he's going to do. Darby's got that times 1,000, and he needed this win tonight. This was a star-making match. Further putting shine on him and Sammy Guevara. I think Sammy's great. This is up there. This is one of my favorite matches of the night, and I believe someone in the chat was also saying it was the shortest match of the night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this accomplished everything it needed to. It was great.
Yeah, sometimes you don't need people to go out for 45 minutes and just kick out of everything under the sun before finally getting the win.
Well, like the match that followed with Kenny Omega and Hangman Page defending their titles against the Young Bucks.
Which was awesome.
It was, but didn't it feel a little like self-parody of what you think All Elite Wrestling is?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Technically fantastic. Tons of big moves. Tons of false finishes. It was really good, but this was a really long freaking match.
And man, I was entertained this whole match, but at a certain point, it becomes, a joke at how much stuff they're kicking out of. It's like, well, if you could, with Kenny Omega and Pac last week, when they did the brainbuster off the top rope, or was it powerbomb brainbuster, whatever it was, and you kick out at 2, then it's like, well, shit. Then that means that move doesn't really hurt. You know, if you could get out at 2, so then when you do it on the mat, how is anyone supposed to believe that move is devastating when from the top rope you can only get a 2 count? And then it tells people that aren't, hardcore wrestling fans, hardcore wrestling fans already know it's fake, whatever. But the casual fans look at it and they're like, oh, they're doing some trick that makes it so none of these moves actually hit and no one gets hurt. I just think that stuff just looks, I think it just hurts overall in the long run.
Yeah.
But I loved the story in the match. I loved the dynamic between Paige and Omega. I tweeted out that if you told me a year ago, or if I asked you a year ago, if you're going to do Adam Page and Kenny Omega versus Young Bucks, who would be the most over guy, in the match? Everyone would say Kenny Omega. And Adam Page, by far, he was super over. He just came across like a superstar. This angle is, doing wonders for him. So
what do you make of them drawing this out, though, that here Page and Omega won? Okay, so Matt and I were both predicting the Bucks were going to take it. Omega and Page broke up. Do you think we get the rematch sooner rather than later on Dynamite? So Page's drinking problem can cause a rift between him and Kenny that lead to a singles feud?
Well, I think this is leading, this is clearly leading to Omega versus Page at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the next pay-per-view or what. I feel like where they're at the storyline, you don't need to turn anyone heel. You could have Page doing his thing. He's kind of this, I don't know what you call it, this alcoholic, kind of loserish guy that the fans love.
Which is weird. So we talked about this Wednesday, right? And Matt has been very open about his past issues with substance. Right. We've had wrestlers like Jeff Hardy that have had that worked into actual storylines. With Paige, I mean, Matt and I both agreed it feels like an after-school special version of the I don't have a problem, you have a problem, man. Yes, Raj, you're more credible as someone with a drinking problem than Adam Page is at this point.
I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't see it like, I mean, it's like Steve Austin, right? Steve Austin back in the day.
A little different. I mean, I don't think anyone would say Steve Austin had a problem though with booze. It was just part of his shtick.
Man, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Well, that was a whole other thing.
Yeah. I mean, it just these guys are all so good. I just feel like it doesn't need this element to it. I don't know. It feels.
I think this element is what's making Page.
Really,
I think that him chugging the pitcher of beer backstage and all that stuff. That is what is getting him over.
See, 13 Anarchy saying it doesn't have anything to his character. Dwindler saying he's over. Isn't that what matters?
But that's what's getting him over. He wasn't over before this started.
Christian saying it's not like the Scott Hall thing. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think there's a lot of other ways you could do it. It's not doing it for me, but I feel like I'm just waiting for that next chapter to unfold because I'm in for Omega versus Page. I just feel like the longer they drag this out, it's like a low point, not of wrestling. It's not a low point of wrestling. Let me be clear. It's just a low point of storytelling.
I don't know. I think Adam Page was kind of dead in the water after that Jericho match. When he had that first AEW, that was the match for the first AEW champion, and no one was into him. He seemed like he was floundering, and now he was super hot tonight. The crowd was so into him, more than Omega. They were booing the Bucks, the freaking EVPs of the company. They were booing.
That's true.
So he was the most over guy in this match by far. That he was the one that people cared about. So I think it's working.
Yeah. And actually, Heath Summer saying James Storm is a beer drinker. It's not an issue. I think that's the key. It's that you can do it, but the fact that they comment on it all the time, clearly it's like planting a seed. He's like, I'm going to go get a drink. My cup's empty. I don't know. Anyhow, it's fine. It's, you can't get down with LuchaSaurus. I can't get down with Adam Page's demon in a bottle. It's just how it goes, man. Anyhow, let's talk about Nyla Rose versus Kris Statlander tonight for the AEW Women's World Championship.
Mm-hmm.
I want to love this match, especially being the only women's match on the AEW card. I feel like it's good that Nyla won, but this wasn't the smoothest or most entertaining match. It felt a little off to me for some reason.
Yeah, it wasn't good. They tried. Chris Statlander's very green. Nyla Rose is also green. Nyla Rose has shown that she's got a ton of potential. She's in there with the right opponents. Her match with Rio was great, I thought. This sucked though. I thought this was the worst match on the show.
Yeah, and I think they need to sell the alien thing more.
Oh God, no! They need to drop that completely.
No, but I'm saying pick a side of the road. Don't treat it like, well, she believes this or she says this, or just do it offhand. Like, either go all in, man, or you just don't do it at all.
No, I think it's embarrassing. And I think Jim Ross, there are things on this show where you could tell JR has a hard time wanting to call seriously. And maybe not tonight, but on Dynamite last week, the Chris Statlander alien stuff, you could tell he's just absolutely embarrassed by. It's stupid. I'm with him.
Yeah, the 13 Anarchy saying the commentary is what killed it. People pointing out that Chris was sick all week.
Okay, that makes sense.
And I get it.
Because she's good.
It's got to be tough, man. I mean, it can't be easy for either woman to be in this position where it's the only women's match on the card. It's the only prominent women's feud in the company. And they have to sort of carry this on their shoulders with this expectation that, remember, AEW said the women's division is going to be a really big deal for us. It's going to be a huge priority. And they have to lead the charge on this half broken promise.
This women's division, it needs work. They need to get some experienced vets in there. They need to get, gosh, who's even out there that's available?
That's the problem. NXT has got a
Blanchard.
lot.
If they can get Tessa Blanchard, that's,
Well, I think her stock's kind of fallen in recent months.
She's,
No, she's great though. I mean, she's a great wrestler.
And she says she didn't do any of the things that
I understand.
Of,
Nyla though, I thought looked really dominant, which was good. I don't think Chris looked bad. But yeah, it's funny. Franchise 221.
Chris looked bad, but again, I guess she was apparently sick. So
yeah, franchise saying, where was the dentist chick? Britt Baker, notably absent tonight.
Britt Baker, she's working on that character, and in my opinion, in wrestling all the time, the character is what ultimately is the biggest thing, and she's working on that. She's going to be the superstar of this division.
Yeah, and I think that's why.
Really? Her and Nyla, or Riho and Nyla had the right dynamic. Yeah. I think Riho and I think Britt Baker and Riho would have that right dynamic, but Britt Baker and Nyla Rose, I don't see it.
Well, I mean, now that Britt's a heel, it's just not.
Well, you could turn Nyla babyface, and I actually think they should.
Sure. Nyla is so damn funny. I don't know if you ever watched the StarCast panels, the interviews she's done. Her promos are just okay, but naturally she's so quick-witted and so likable.
And if you haven't heard her interview on Chris Jericho's podcast, you should check that out. That was a week ago. But she's just so damn likable that if you could get that out, I think she's a natural babyface if you could get that out.
I like Big Swole as well. I think there's a lot of talent there.
Yeah. I think she has a ton of potential for sure.
It's the way they're building the stories. And it's funny because when you look at it, it is interesting when you look at who gets the most airtime week in and week out. I mean, I think a second night is going to be so good for AEW to really open up their story.
Have a second night. Are you going to make it seem like an important show that people are going to watch? And you can have your velocities in those shows if people find it skippable TV. It does allow people time to perform, but if no one's watching, it doesn't do anything.
And I think maybe part of it is that given what AEW has done so differently, I would really like to see what they could do with more women's storylines and trying more and differentiating themselves from what else is out there.
Yeah, I mean, WWE has just done a fantastic job of signing all the top women out there. Yeah, I mean, you look at NXT's women's division, it's unbelievable. Actually, the main roster women's division, they're not pushed like they should be. But you forget all the talent that's out there. Yeah.
So let's talk about it. Cody versus MJF. That neck tattoo, biggest heat getter, biggest heat magnet in the business.
Man.
Oh
my God.
Also, Okay, so Cody's entrance, right? It's cool. He had the posse, Stephen Amell, Dustin,
Oh, real
Arn,
quick,
Brandy.
what do you think of the match overall?
Oh, of the Cody MJF match?
Yeah, no, the tag match.
Oh, the tag match? No, I thought it was good. I mean, but again, it was
Or,
sort of
I
like,
mean, we're going back one, but
no, I think it's what I expected, and I think that work, like, this is just how my brain works. Like, what I would say is like, well, that's the stereotypical AEW match, right?
Mhm.
Bucks versus Kenny and Page. Like, I want to be surprised. And I thought I was going to be surprised by Kenny and Page losing it and that leading to something really interesting happen. But instead we just got like a fantastic exhibition. But yeah, that's what I expected it to be.
So on a scale from 1 to 5, what would you give it?
I 1 to 5, probably like a 4.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like a 4, 3.5, 4.
It's really good.
The kickouts at 2 just kind of killed it for me. Otherwise it could have been damn close to a 4.5.
But that's but again, and this is just where I come from on everything. I don't care how great the wrestling is. If there's no storyline or swerve or something, I mean, that's why I don't watch real sports, because I really don't care just about true athletic competition.
Yeah.
You got to bring in that comic book element, you know?
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyhow, so yeah, let's talk about MJF versus Cody Rhodes. Man, like, I thought this was Cody's to win. I liked the way they ended it. Right? With Cody getting punched by MJF with the diamond ring on. And then just basically passing out on top of him. But there were so many good spots in this match. I mean, from the blood to the whipping to everything that happened outside the ring. Like, you tweeted about this. I mean, talk about storyline. Like, this is a fantastic, fantastic storyline. And I like that they're going to be able to keep it going now, given the way it ended.
I thought the storyline leading into this match was great. I felt like they did everything that they were supposed to do in this match, but it just never clicked. I think part of it for me was Cody's neck tattoo. Cody has this giant tattoo on his neck that's legitimate. It's not fake. It's a real tattoo that he got on his neck.
That is like, I gotta find a photo of this. If someone didn't watch the pay-per-view, if you haven't seen this, this is not like some subtle little thing.
No, it's not like that dream tattoo on his chest. This was friggin' nasty. Oh my gosh. It was distracting like the whole match. I was just like, oh my God, what, you can't wipe that off. It takes a long time to take that stuff off. So.
Like, and if it was fake, like, regardless, why do this to yourself?
There we go.
And something that's going to distract, right? I mean, I guess the positive version of this, what do they call it? Peacocking. When you do something that's like a big attention getter and that draws the eye. This is like, yes, it's exactly flipping the script. This isn't the wrong way, because Cody is a very, very handsome man. This is the Nightmare Family logo. It's a badass logo.
Dude,
but
on the back of his shoulder or something,
big cool back tattoo, Affleck style. Like, but this, I mean, far be it for me to question another person's life decisions. God knows I made a lot of questionable ones. I have a lot of photos of me with unfortunate haircuts, but this is why I never got a tattoo, because it can go so horribly wrong.
I've been thinking about getting one too, but
well, here's your top contender: big Nightmare Family right on your neck.
Oh man, that was hideous. So God bless Brandy for allowing that.
Fun times games with the super chat. The tattoo's so gross. Dwindler saying, I wish they went with the HBK versus Y2J finish with Brandy.
There was a point in that match where I almost thought it looked almost like Arn Anderson was going to hit Brandy with a chair. Like they did that slow him walking. They are throwing those teases in for Arn Anderson eventually turning on Cody or something happening there. But I mean, the match was everything it should have been, but it just never. I just felt like it never really got going. It was fine.
I want to start the GoFundMe, as John P is saying. Let's start this for Tampa Bay, everyone. Raj Giri gets a wrestling ink tattoo on his chest. We can all go down there in Tampa, Raj, after we go to Rick's on the River and watch you get this.
All right, yeah. Yeah, that's not happening.
What about a tattoo of Ryback on like your bicep?
Mm-hmm.
Neo Akira Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we keep.
It's like a tramp stamp on his neck. And Adonde Estas saying he should put the tat on his forearm.
Yes, absolutely.
Interesting. Ben Frake since '93 super chat. First 3 matches had Canadian destroyers, made it less cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now the Canadian destroyer, it's a destroyer from Canada, not a destroyer of Canadians.
All right.
Very important to differentiate.
And Petey Williams, who made the move famous, he had even tweeted that that move is not supposed to be a transition move. It's supposed to be a finisher, but no one uses it for a finisher anyway.
Yeah. But this match with Cody and MJF, I thought absolutely paid off the storyline. I think they could pause it for now. I think they could keep it going. I thought this was really good, and I thought the finish was good. And this is the reason why I know people might be like, so talking about the tattoo, because it's so distracting that they had like this perfect thing tonight in every other aspect, but it was right there. You know, as Lance Morissette would say, it was a black fly in your Chardonnay. It was perfect, and this just it just irks me.
You know, Cody loves his father. He loves his family. But I just think this
interested where this
move.
is going.
This is a bad move.
It would have been better if it was a big portrait of Dusty
but
on
not
his
just
neck.
That he's an executive now. He's going to be in business meetings.
Oh, he's not going to be able to get a job. No one's going to want to hire him with the neck.
No, but you know, in a business meeting, negotiating a pay-per-view deal or something. That's I don't know. I'm not ink shaming, but.
That's a generational thing too. I mean, Raj, we both grew up. Did you always get that? Like, if you do get a tattoo, don't get it anywhere it's visible. No one will hire you for a job.
No, it's not that. You can do tattoos. That's fine.
Sure.
That one. Okay. Well, let's move on. But it's hideous.
We could literally talk about this for an hour.
Yes.
It's a midlife crisis, dude. Buy a car.
Yeah,
get some blue chew. Do something
Cody
else.
should have wore MJF scarf.
Yes. Well, okay. So let's be a little equal opportunity here. What was MJF wearing coming out to the ring?
It almost looked like it was like Piper's kilt turned into a robe or something.
That did not work. Yeah, it was unfortunate.
MJF, he's awesome.
Absolutely.
He plays this role to perfection. He's that old school heel it's hard to find these days, and he just kills it. So I thought it was great. I thought the finish was perfect. It should have been MJF winning. And I liked it overall. I mean, the match itself, I felt like it didn't fully click. It's one of those 3 stars, which on this pay-per-view, because there was so much good, it probably came across as a little underwhelming, but it was still good.
Well, and I think that, again, storyline is everything, right? And if it had been storyline in a 5-star match, fantastic. But for storyline, it worked very well. So let's talk about my main event of the evening, my most coveted match, all right. Pac versus Orange Cassidy. Mm-hmm. What did you think of this?
I thought it was awesome.
It was so good.
I know Orange Cassidy, he's one of those that's a divisive figure, but the AEW crowd loves him. I thought this match was just booked perfectly. It was enough silly, but not to where, like, if Pac was selling those weak leg kicks, that's one thing, but he wasn't. And I just thought this was awesome. This clicked with the audience. The crowd was on fire. It was fun to watch.
This.
And this was one of those that you could watch with your friends, and some of them would be like, yes, this is what the hell are you watching? And others would be entertained and be like, what, this is interesting. So I liked it.
If nitpicky, I didn't like Orange Cassidy corpsing a little bit and smiling and sort of breaking the character a little bit.
I don't think he meant to.
I know, but I get it. I mean, it was genuine.
Yeah.
You could tell that he was really just so stoked to get this reaction from the crowd. But this was really good, man. This guy is a star. This guy, I think, is a ratings draw. This guy, look at where they put this tonight. Actually, this on paper seemed like the cool down match in between Cody and MJF, and it was almost in the death slot, and it got the crowd so pumped.
Yeah.
Yeah, hold
on a sec. There's a comment here I wanted to put on?
And it's interesting because I'm looking at this in the chat here, and it's on the same thing. I mean, we'll dwindle with the super chat saying the 3 moves, shades, hands, pockets, and the roof blew off. But yeah, Gabriel Martinez, my favorite AEW wrestler. Tammy, this was so good. Benny Leany, amazing match. Boston, this guy's so entertaining regardless of his moveset. I mean, I don't know how long this gimmick can keep going, but I think that tonight, the fact he wrestled a match with Pac and it was like technically a great match, and also just the entertainment factor. Like this was like a 4.5 star on the entertainment scale and like a 3.5 star on the technical level. This was so good. I love this.
Yeah, I mean, this is the one match I'm going to show my wife tonight. When we're off the air. It was fun. But fun. It's one of those that if I explained this to someone, they would think it was so stupid. But if they watch it, it's so entertaining. And I think AEW has just done a tremendous job with Orange Cassidy and not overexposing him. This was his first singles match after months and months and months. So I think they've done a great job with him. And I thought this worked. I thought it was, and this was one of those cases where Pac should have gotten the win. He shouldn't have lost, but Orange Cassidy still got over. He still got to the next level. Kind of like the anti Brock Lesnar and Ricochet,
I thought it was weird that they did him with the tap out. Now, I didn't see the tap clearly. I think the hand he was tapping with wasn't on camera, but I don't know. I would like to believe Orange Cassidy would tap out in character with the most half-assed, half-energy tap.
At least it makes the move real, like he's actually in pain. So you come alive for that.
This was so good, man. I mean, seriously,
awesome.
like
I'm gonna watch it again, like I said, with my wife after we're done. Done with the scrums. We got check out WrestlingInc.com afterwards. We're live at the scrums. We're gonna have tons of news and everything from it.
The screen pictures, when his entrance, the handwriting, just everything about this kid. Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, MJF, these are people. I don't care what the TV show is. I don't care if wrestling is even involved in the show. I would tune in every week to watch a show featuring these guys. You could do a reboot of The Office with these characters, and I'd be like, okay, give that a try. Like I don't care what it is. These characters are so damn engaging, and Pac was a perfect opponent for Orange Cassidy tonight, to where he could really show that this guy can actually wrestle.
Yeah,
it was fantastic.
Definitely one of the highlights of the show. Oh, geez. Who are this? Some of these people, it's like, what the hell?
Our chat room is the best. I did not see Evil Uno doing the delete motion tonight.
Oh, I missed that too.
Yeah. Hey, good on AEW for trolling people if that's what we're expecting, but I would love to see Matt Hardy show up on Wednesday. So Pac won that by submission. Let's talk about the main event. Chris Jericho versus Jon Moxley. Santana and Ortiz were ringside. Both of these entrances, Moxley arriving through the audience, but we saw him walking in through the front of the arena, was fantastic. The choir singing Judas was fantastic. This was such a hot main event. This was such a hot match. I love the use of blood in this match. I love the rope-a-dope with Moxley pulling off the eye patch at the end. I mean, let's talk about the match itself first rather than the outcome, Raj. I mean, what did you think of this, given how this has been built up even more than MJF versus Cody was?
Well, first off, I thought the entrances were great. Like, it just makes Jericho look like a larger-than-life superstar. Yeah, I loved it. Like, Jericho he is hitting all the right notes right now. He's just on another level. The match itself, I thought, was fine. Again, I think the audience, after a while, they get numb with all the false finishes. So there was that spot late in the match where where Moxley or Sammy Guevara he hit Moxley with the belt. Jericho covered him, and then Moxley kicked out at 2, and it didn't get the reaction that you would think it did, for a false finish in a championship match. But, when Moxley won the match, huge pop. There's so many different ways you could go. I thought it was really damn good ultimately overall when you look at the storyline elements, the finish, and I thought it was really good.
I mean, what do you make with them putting the belt on Moxley now?
I thought Jericho was doing such a great job with it that I felt like he could have gone a really long time with it. So I mean, who is there right now for him? I mean, there's Jericho, Cody, but Cody, he had that stip where he can't challenge for the title.
MJF versus Moxley would be pretty good.
Yeah, MJF. Actually, yeah.
Phil DePayne saying, is Jericho taking a break? I feel like they should have kept the title on him a little longer. I agree. I thought people were saying Fozzie's got a tour starting up in spring. Maybe, but it's not like he can't fly in on Wednesdays.
Right, exactly. He usually does leave wrestling when he's going on tour.
But you know what, though?
April he's going on tour, so
good for him if he's in a supporting role and they give some of the other Inner Circle members prominent storylines and Jericho is involved but isn't wrestling or front and center in the feud. I think that would be good for all those other talents. But with Mox, man, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to fantasy book this entire thing, but I think he should give Darby Allin a title shot just for TV. I think that'd be a great main event where he can retain and put Darby over even more. Maybe Sammy, but MJF though, yeah, I think they could do something really special with those guys. Especially think back to how Dean Ambrose would sort of do the like take no bullshit elements of his character. I think with MJF that could just be really good.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, so real quick, the Fozzy tours are April 16th to May 9th. So yeah, he's going to be gone for about a month. But in wrestling land, that's not that long. And
we are getting the, as Joey Dorjan's putting out, we are getting the Blood and Guts edition of Dynamite, the Inner Circle versus the Elite in a War Games match.
They didn't announce that part, but that does.
Well, I thought they said. I thought that's what they said with the steel cage. I thought it was 2 rings, steel cage over it. The rest.
Yeah, so it's going to be a War Games match. They didn't say Inner Circle versus the Elite. Right?
Maybe that's just speculation. But the Blood and Guts announcement.
Yeah, so it's actually called Blood and Guts. They had trademarked that a while ago. Obviously, that's a Vince McMahon comment that Vince McMahon made on a conference call where he said he doesn't think that TNT will appreciate the type of blood and guts wrestling that AEW is doing, and they took that and turned it into an event name. I don't know. I think piggybacking off of WWE or taking their comments and spinning it's cute, but I think you need to be above that. Like, not make it seem like that's a blip on your radar in a way, and naming it an event after that. I don't know. It works with that audience, but at the same time, if you want to become a big organization like WWE right now, and with wrestling, it's the NFL. If you want to be the NFL, you don't piggyback off of stuff like that.
Well, that's true. I think that Moxley winning this with pinfall tonight was a good ending to the match. I'm actually surprised. I guess Inner Circle tried to interfere. They knocked them out. I think Elite versus the Inner Circle would be great. That paves the way for Moxley to do something fresh. Moxley and MJF can exist, and the Inner Circle and the Elite can feud now.
It'll be interesting because I think AEW is doing what they can to make stars. We see with Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara. When I hear Moxley versus Sammy or Moxley versus MJF, I just feel like MJF's not there yet. It doesn't really excite me. That doesn't sound like a pay-per-view main event. I feel like they still got a ways to go.
Dwindler with the super chat saying Mox winning tonight really meant something to him. Yeah, so we were talking about this earlier. It was a year and a month since it was confirmed he was leaving WWE, and look at his journey since then.
Yeah.
So this was cool tonight, man. I really dug it. I do think they have, I am a little more optimistic about what they can do by putting these talents in the main event. I think Santana and Ortiz, if that's what happens when the War Games match and the tag titles get put on the line, Santana and Ortiz beating Page and Omega would be a great way to shift things a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not so concerned about who gets the titles as much as where they go with the story. As long as it takes Adam Page to the next level, because it seems to be working. I think that's bigger right now. But whoever takes the titles off them, Santana Ortiz would be great. Lucha Brothers, those guys are awesome. But
it was good, man. Tonight was a good pay-per-view. I don't know if it was $50 good,
Yeah, it was fun. It's of the AEW pay-per-views, I thought it was, I don't know, probably, I mean, they've all been really good, so it's kind of, it might sound like I'm crapping on them, but I thought it was the worst of all of them, but it was still really good. So
you heard it here. Headline: Raj Giri said Revolution was the worst AEW pay-per-view ever
of all time.
Yes,
but it was really good. I'd give it 3.5 stars.
Yeah, no, it's like you can have the least nice mansion on your block, but it's still a mansion.
That's like takeovers, right? Those takeovers are always really solid shows, and when you have a bad one, it's usually still like a 3.5.
It's still really good.
Show.
It's just not the best. So there you have it.
Oh, really? Real quick, the promo afterwards that Moxley cut.
Yeah.
So he was talking about how AEW listens to the fans. The title victory was for his fans. They started his music. He dropped the F-bomb, and then said he was gonna drink some whiskey, and then left, and the music went back on. So you could tell like this is a big deal to him. He wants to do everything he can to use him being champion to elevate the company, the title, and go to the next level.
What a difference. A year ago, he didn't want to touch the crowd and was getting shots and wearing gas masks to the ring.
Yeah, there you go.
And now, most over babyface, loves the crowd. The most important, what do you say, the most important aspect of AEW is you, the fans?
He's over. I do see some warning signs.
Peter Bahi with the Super Chat saying, which AEW star will be the first to WWE? I asked this, there was a rumor that Mox had an out in his contract? I assume he's not taking it based on tonight.
I didn't hear that.
Do you think we've got to be at least a year or two away before anyone can leave AEW and go to WWE?
Well, they let
Kylie Rowe.
Yeah, Kylie. Sorry. Yeah, they let her go. AEW today, it's too early to say. I mean, they've only been doing weekly TV for 4 months now. So, Joey Janela, if you listen to his interview on wrestling, he didn't sound all that thrilled. He was pretty frustrated that his match with Kip Sabian. So check out the Wrestling Inc. Daily, subscribe on iTunes. We had an interview with him earlier this past week, and he was not pleased that his match with Kip Sabian was moved to AEW Dark. Felt like it should have been on the pay-per-view. I don't know. I can't see anyone right now wanting to go to WWE in AEW.
And in the media scrums, it was confirmed by Tony Khan that Colt Cabana has signed with AEW.
Okay.
Yeah. Stephen Amell tonight, he's got that new wrestling show he's doing for Stars coming out in a couple months. It's going to be exciting. Right. It's going to be scripted. I think it's called Heels.
Yeah.
It's about two brothers running as the top stars in a territory promotion. So before we wrap, Michael Edwards with the super chat saying, missed yesterday's show. They messed up the Fiend badly. Protect him, drop it in the Elimination Chamber, all 5 guys to take him out Thanos style, like the Avengers. What do you think, Raj? I'm sure you're going to give the business perspective on Goldberg going over the Fiend.
It's the 50-50 thing. Like, I felt like the Fiend shouldn't have had the title to begin with yet. They should have been building his character much like they did with The Undertaker. And then down the road, once it's established, it's this badass character, then he gets the world title. It's a big deal. By putting the world title on him right away, you're booked into that corner where who beats him and how does he lose? Because he's going to lose at some point. So he shouldn't have had it in the first place. But from a business move, I think this makes WrestleMania a lot better as far as having, if your choices were Goldberg versus Roman Reigns for the title and The Fiend versus John Cena, and the other choice, and these were the only 2 choices you could pick from, the other choice was Bray Wyatt versus Roman Reigns for the title, and then John Cena versus Elias. To me, it's a no-brainer. And Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt, it did nothing for me.
The way they set up Bray versus Cena last night, though, I think was the stupidest setup ever.
Oh my gosh, it sucked. I mean, for Cena to go from I'm stepping back, I'm letting these guys take the spotlight to, okay, I'll take that match.
And his scared face, he looked like a buff version of Ernest from Ernest Goes to Camp, and Ernest Scared Stupid with his,
why can't WWE, why can't they do storylines anymore?
I know.
Why can't they do give a reason why Bray is out there challenging him, and
he shouldn't have been out there. Bray should not have been out there in the bright lights pointing at the goddamn sign.
He should not be pointing at the sign. Yeah, it's, oh my God. I hated everything about that.
So terrible, especially because it's to your point, the storyline's there. He could do a better version of what AJ tried to do in that feud by saying, like, I was one of the young talents sacrificed to you before, and now this is your reckoning.
Yeah, or Bray just, he's back with his red sweater, and he's like, I shouldn't have lost. I need to reinvent myself in the wacky way he does. And then you see the picture of Cena on the wall with the eyes cut out, and just a little subtle tease, and just go from there.
Or Bray, like in all red gear, like Cena-esque gear. They could have done so much fun stuff, and I'm hoping, we were talking about it, I'm sure they will do some parodies of Cena in the coming weeks. They'd better, but they got to get Bray back to being creative again and not just phoning it in. Dwindler is pointing out, in 12 months, AEW has built unknown wrestlers and great stories matches. In the same 12 months, WWE has buried wrestlers again and killed stories. I mean, it is unfortunate, but it does feel like every time they get a good thing going, it's just not enough for Vince, and he goes back to his playbook of bad ideas.
No, absolutely. And, like I said, I do like this WrestleMania card better, but Bray should not, when you're building Bray up, he should not have lost to Goldberg. That being said, with the way they booked everything, I felt like that was the right move, but that's more the problems with WWE, not like I felt like Bray was doing a bad job or anything. I just, it's just one of those things where they book themselves into a corner. Bray hasn't been kicking, knocking it out of the park as champion. No. I feel like
they've been phoning it in since at least the last 4 months.
Just with the red lighting and the Hell in the Cell ending, and then the sound effects during promos when he's going back and forth. And
Michael McFarlane saying, fine, point to the sign, but when he pointed at it, the sign should have lit on fire. Ooh, absolutely. Cool. 100%. 100%. They just need to try.
I just look at when Bray, you go back and watch Bray versus Finn at SummerSlam. That was so awesome. Yeah. And then they just pissed that away.
Absolutely. Dwindler saying, before we go, Sting in AJ's corner versus Taker or not?
No. That makes no sense. Why would Sting, who's a babyface, be in a heel's corner? And they've never teased anything with Sting versus an Undertaker. Why all of a sudden, and that's not going to lead to a match. So there's no way.
Well, there you have it, folks. 48 hours, less than 48 hours from now, we'll be back to talk all about
real
WWE.
Quick.
I
know ROH is kind of off a lot of people's radar right now, but Roosh recaptured the ROH World Championship tonight. He defeated PCO and Mark Haskins in St. Charles, Minnesota. So
interesting.
Or Missouri, sorry.
How was attendance for that, given that AEW's fan base seems like ROH's fan base?
ROH attendance has been pretty bad over.
That's what I'm saying, but
I wouldn't even say their fan bases are the same anymore. It's ROH is in a tough spot, but they are. They look like they're trying to make the right moves. They are working with New Japan again. They're doing the War of the Worlds tour again, so we'll see. But new ROH World Champion. PCO is no longer the champ.
There you have it, folks. Monday night, we'll be back here to talk all about Monday Night Raw, and we'll still be in the afterglow of AEW. So I'm assuming, maybe 50% of the podcast will be talking about Revolution? Another 50% about Raw? We'll see.
Oh, yeah. If Raw is good, then more.
If Raw's good, 100%. If Raw's good, 90% Raw. But if it's bad, it's going to be all about talking about what you heard us talk about tonight, but with Matt Morgan. Until next time, he's at Raj Giri _303. I'm at Glenn Rubenstein. We'll